We are doing an updated video about how to research a record on the UJS portal. And so there's a couple of things we need to know about. We need to know that the reason for researching criminal records is because criminal records don't go away on their own. A lot of people don't even know exactly what they were convicted of, and they're not told by probation or parole or their attorney. They might think their record goes away with time on its own. And although there is something called Clean Slate, that's not really something you can rely on. Some people think that ARDs, if you get it for a DUI, they think they're automatically expunged. Most counties do not do that. And people also tend to think employers can't see old charges, but my experience is that employers are seeing more and more and more. And also that HR departments and employers are not really familiar with how to read criminal records. All of which means that you need to know how to research your own record and see exactly what's on it and learn how to interview for a job with a criminal record. And that's part of the importance. If you find your criminal record, you will see that there are 3 devices that can be used. We'll analyze a record to see what could be used to clear it. One is expungement for a very short, small subset of things that are either small, old summaries, ARD cases, or things you weren't convicted of, or juvenile records, or summary offenses that are more than 5 years old. Those can be expunged. And when I say expunged, that's a 3 to 6 month process that is started by filing an expungement petition in the county of conviction. And then 3 to 6 months later, that record should be gone. We know that there's a thing called Clean Slate, and Clean Slate is a way of hiding certain old misdemeanors after 7 years and certain old felonies after 10 years. Now, this sealing hides the record, but it does not eliminate it. In other words, it hides it, but it can still be found. And if that's confusing to you, join the club. It hides it from some employers and landlords, but you don't really know which ones. But it still is a conviction on your Pennsylvania State Police criminal history that does need to be pardoned. And so the third thing is a pardon. You got expungement, you have Clean Slate, and you have a pardon. A pardon is needed to completely remove any misdemeanor or felony conviction in Pennsylvania unless you're 70 years old, and we'll cover that later. Another thing that we're going to be looking at when we are looking at records is how serious the charge was. In Pennsylvania, felonies of the first degree are the most serious crimes. Under felony 1s or felony 2s, under felony 2s or felony 3s. These are all titled according to what the maximum sentence is that somebody could get for them. By the time you're down to a felony 3, the max is 7 years. A misdemeanor 1 is below a felony 3. Now we're down to 5 years probation or jail. Misdemeanor 2s, we're going down now. I need bigger hands. Misdemeanor 3 and summary offenses are the lowest offenses. So you have a summary, misdemeanor 3, misdemeanor 2, misdemeanor 1, felony 3, felony 2, felony 1. And that's that. Now, once we see a record, we're also going to want to know what's the disposition. The disposition is what happened to it. Was it a conviction, a plea of guilt, a conviction of guilt, found guilty at trial? Is it guilt, or is it a non-conviction, like dismissed, withdrawn, null prost, or found not guilty? And ARD you'll see, and sometimes you'll see Section 17. Those are specific notations about offenses that may or may not be convictions. And so now I'm going to switch to the UJS portal. Is this public website here at ujsportal.pacourts.us. This is only for Pennsylvania, but it is free. It is an open resource, and it's where you can find records. And when you come to this screen, you can either search by docket number, if you already know the docket number, or an OTN is a magic number, or participant name. And so I'm going to search for a previous Attorney General of Pennsylvania who got into a little bit of trouble. And so her name was Kathleen Kane. And we know that her date of birth is 11/23/2015. Notice that I didn't use the date of birth at first to pull up the maximum range of possibilities. Then you can enter a date of birth and it will get rid of everybody that's not that person with that name on that date. Now this person shows up with these records. So on the left is a docket. Next column is Court of Common Pleas. It could say appellate. It could say MDJ. The case caption is the person's name. The case status is closed or open. Has the filing date, the primary participant, the date of birth, the county, the court office, the OTN, and other things. Now, what I want you to notice here is on the right side, over here is what I call the temple. The temple is where you get a court summary. The court summary will show everything that was filed against this individual. And so we can see here there was a case in Lackawanna, and we can see that there's a case in Montgomery. And we can see that there are 2 other cases below that. Now, the only ones we're interested in are the ones with dispositions. Notice here at the Lackawanna case, if it says MD right here, that means that it is a miscellaneous docket. That is not going to indicate a conviction because it's basically a docket number that's created to transfer parole or probation to another county. And we know that because if we look at the OTN here, 032-2, I know that if we go down here, we're going to see 032-2. This is not a miscellaneous docket. This is a common pleas docket. 46 is the county number for Montgomery. And then the actual criminal docket number, which is 8423 of 2015. So this is what the summary shows us. And this is great for finding out dispositions, docket numbers, counties, dates, things of that sort. So we can see here that in 2015, or actually if you see that disposition date there, 2016, there was a conviction for felony 3 perjury. She got 5 to 12 months, followed by 5 years probation. She was convicted of false swearing, obstruction administration of justice, conspiracy, official oppression, and conspiracy. Those were the convictions. We can also go down lower and we can see that there was a separate conviction for perjury on docket 8423 of 2015. And so we know that that date of disposition was the same date. It looks like actually, yes, it is. So those are the 2 convictions and the 2 dispositions. Now, if we go back here, instead of clicking on the temple, if we click on the D is for docket, that will actually open up not a summary of both cases, but that will open up only one docket for one sheet. And we know she has 2, but this is the first one. Here is 8423. And this is a docket sheet, and you can see now that it's going to reflect every date of what happened, something in court, awaiting PSI, awaiting Gagnon 1 hearing in May 2022, awaiting appellate court decision 2016. Those are the court filings. If we keep going down, we know that this case started in Magisterial District Court on October 1st, 2015. It was transferred to Common Pleas in 10/24/16. We know that here are the official counts. Count 1, 2, and 3. Perjury, false swearing, and obstruction of justice. We see the sentence of the court here. After a jury trial, there was a conviction, and she was found guilty in giving these sentences. And that's what we want to pay attention to. In the docket sheet, we also know that the docket sheet, here we can see who represented her, Mark Steinberg, prosecuted by Thomas McGoldrick. And if you go all the way down on a docket sheet, not only will you have various notes of the case, information filed, found guilty, amended decorum order governing voir dire and jury trial. So this was a trial, so there's a lot of court filings, which are all docketed. But I want to get to the last page here, because this will have a total of fines, costs, and restitution. And here in the bottom of the right column, we can see that this was all paid off. So whatever she owed on this docket was paid off. So that is 8423 of 2015. If we want to look at 6239 of 2015, then we're going to click here, and that'll open up the second docket sheet. And this is a very similar, this is everything that happened in 6239 of 2015. The filings that happened, another jury trial. This has 7 counts of various crimes. And this is where she was found guilty of those counts. Same defense attorney, different prosecutor because it's a different county. And then again, pages and pages. This was a very sensitive political case. And so, again, just looking down to the bottom of the last screen, we can see that everything's paid off. So also, if we were on the UJS portal, we can search for non-traffic offenses. Non-traffic offenses will show us disorderly conducts, harassments, unsworn falsification, underage drinking, things like that. Summary offenses at the DJ would show up if we search for non-traffic. So that's something else that's important to search for. Once we're looking at a case, we can tell what can be cleared and when with the use of pardons and expungements and Clean Slate. This conviction here is not going to be expungible until it's pardoned by the governor or she turns 70. Same for the other case. In terms of Clean Slate, I honestly don't know if Clean Slate could seal this felony after 10 years. And it is 2025. So that's an interesting question, but I would basically see this record and say you need a pardon. So that's a quick look at what can be cleared and when. So we know expungements are defined by statute. We know what can be expunged and when, because it's either listed in the statute or it can't be done. Expungements clear the record completely as if it never happened. That's a good thing. We know that Clean Slate hides records, and it hides them, but they still need to be pardoned by the governor. So Clean Slate can hide records from certain employers and landlords, but they still need a pardon to get rid of them completely. Maybe they should be like this. You can hide it, but here's the conviction. It still needs to be pardoned. Everything that is hidden by Clean Slate still needs to be pardoned by the governor. Then after it's pardoned by the governor, we can discuss whether or not you need to file an expungement to get rid of the record now that there's a pardon from the governor that authorizes the expunging of the case. And there's some questions right now as to whether or not that expunging is happening naturally and automatically by the Pennsylvania State Police or not. And I think that's also the subject for another video. So that's just my update on how to search the UJS portal and take a look at records, and we will pump out some more content. And so go have a great, happy May 1st.